This show is brought to you by KetConnection.com, draft beverage supplies and solutions. Cat Connection has the experience and the expertise to get you set up. Tap your favorite craft beer, homebrew, wine, cold brew, kombucha, sparkling water, and more at home with ease using a KetConnection.com dispensing kit. Go to KetConnection.com, use our promo code BNW, that's for Booze News Weekly, and save 10% off your first order. Some restrictions may apply. Visit KetConnection.com for more details. Coming up on this episode of Booze News Weekly, Dick Leinenkugel stepping down as head of brewery, counterfeiting in the wine industry, and results from the inaugural Texas Craft Brewers Cup. It's Monday, February 14th, 2022. Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to this episode of Booze News Weekly, your source for weekly beverage industry news and commentary delivered quickly and conveniently. My name is Joshua Stubing. If you haven't already, click that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification to make sure you never miss an episode. Now let's take a look at the headlines of the week. Since it is Valentine's Day and I still gotta go shopping for my wife, we're gonna make this episode short and sweet with our first headline, Dick Leinenkugel stepping down as head of brewery at year's end. This came from WPR.org. Dick Leinenkugel, who has headed the Chippewa Falls-based Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company since 2014, will retire from the 155-year-old company at the end of this year. Leinenkugel's nephew, Tony Berger, will take the helm and is tasked with modernizing the brand. In a press release issued Monday by parent company Molson Coors, Dick Leinenkugel said he is thrilled that another descendant of the company's founder, Jacob Leinenkugel, will lead the brewery. Quote, "The more family members we can have be part of this business, the better," Leinenkugel said. "Working with the Molson and Coors families has been a blessing, especially when it comes to understanding the value of heritage in a business." Leinenkugel, who is 64, has been with the family-owned company since 1987. He started as a sales representative based in Chicago a year before the family sold the business to Miller Brewing. During the 90s, Leinenkugel became vice president of sales and marketing, according to the press release. He expanded to leading teams for other Leinenkugel brands, including Red Lager, Honey Weiss, and Summer Shandy, which launched in 2007 in the Great Lakes region. Leinenkugel told WPR that Summer Shandy quickly sold out at the regional level. Quote, "And finally, we made the decision in 2012 to take Leinenkugel Summer Shandy and distribute it in all 50 states. So today, that beer is our number one brand, distributed in all 50 states, and we're very excited for the success that we've had with that style of beer." Leinenkugel said he and his wife have moved to Eagle River. Quote, "I would love to get back up there and start up businesses and really help improve the overall economy," he said. In 2008, Leinenkugel served for 2 years as secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Commerce under former Governor Jim Doyle. In 2010, he announced a short-lived run for U.S. Senate as a Republican. Buter has been with the company since 2014 and has held roles such as craft and import manager, field marketing manager, and senior distributor sales executive. Buter's mother, Kate Buter, was the company's first tour guide when the Chippewa Falls location began offering tours in 1967. Quote, "Each generation of Leinenkugel's leadership has made a significantly positive impact through our 155 years of brewing history," Buter said in the press release. "It's an honor and a privilege to have that opportunity to continue the legacy alongside my Uncle John and cousins Katie and Matt Leinenkugel. I appreciate all that I've learned from Dick throughout the past 8 years, and I look forward to the future of our family's storied brand that we love so much." After he takes the helm at the end of 2022, Buter will advise the company on marketing efforts and lead the creation of a new small-scale innovation brewery in Chippewa Falls that will gather feedback on new beers from customers visiting their Leinie Lodge in the city. "We've got a ton of energy around our new pilot system, and it's going to be a game-changer," Buter said. "The opportunity for us to move more quickly to develop new brews and get immediate feedback on what we're doing is huge." Our next headline comes to us from WineIndustryAdvisor.com. Counterfeiting is a lingering stain on the wine industry. Counterfeit wines and spirits cost the global industry $3.18 billion in direct sales, and the impact can be felt at many levels. A European Union Intellectual Property Office report estimates that illicit trade in wine and spirit results in a 7% reduction of legitimate products, the loss of over 7,000 jobs across the beverage industry, and cost the government $2.61 billion in tax revenues. And yet this malpractice continues to run rampant in the beverage alcohol sector. Counterfeiting is not limited to rare and fine wines. Asia is notorious for making counterfeits at all price points and even hosts wine fairs actually promoting knockoffs. In fact, Maureen Downey, a global expert in counterfeit wine and owner of Chai Consulting, who advised the Department of Justice and FBI on the Rudy Kurniawan case, defines wine fraud quite broadly as, quote, the sale of products which are misrepresented as being authentic, healthy, in proper and undamaged condition and or legitimately sourced when they are not, end quote. In order to prevent occurrences of wine fraud, David Parker, CEO of Benchmark Wine Group, advises collectors to do their homework and buy from reputable commercial sources that offer recourse. So, how do you identify a fake? For those interested in official verification, that requires a specialized expert, someone with a background in forensics and education surrounding wine provenance. Quote, you need to build files and be familiar with what bottles look like in all vintages, says authenticator William Edgerton of Edgerton Wine Appraisals. Authenticators like Edgerton examine a bottle's label for misspellings, altered words, and punctuation errors. They'll look for anomalies in ink, paper color, texture, uneven label placement, and signs of glue. An ultraviolet flashlight can pick up whether brighteners were used in the label, which is a practice not used before the 1950s. Bottle size can be another clue. Experts agree better oversight is needed. Quote, consumers must expect more and do their own homework. Vendors need to be harder in the industry and take more responsibility. They need to stop selling bottles they know are damaged or fraudulent. We need to shut down unlicensed sellers and hold perpetrators accountable, said Downey. So, how to avoid becoming a counterfeit victim? Downey advises investors to ask questions and demand tangible answers about the provenance of potential purchases. Quote, ask online vendors for their license. Vet vendors by asking others about them on public forums, like wineberserkers.com, he adds. But if buyers discover they have, in fact, purchased counterfeit bottles, then they need to take steps to rectify the situation. First, have an independent authenticator inspect the bottles. If it's found to be counterfeit, contact the vendor. Quote, the victim should demand full current value plus expenses and remuneration for all bad purchases. Under no circumstances should a victim return the bottles to the vendor because they will resell them and make a second profit, says Downey. He also recommends identifying perpetrators on public forums like winefraud.com to warn others. Though many victims are embarrassed and don't speak out, silence only shields the counterfeiters. Downey adds, without the assistance of diligent consumers who are willing to speak out, wine and spirit fraudsters and their vendors will continue to thrive. Look, guys, I admit it's a slow news week, and this article applies to 0.0001% of us, and of my audience, I'm going to say it applies to none of us. Who's collecting high dollar wine? But I included it because it's an interesting concept. I don't see counterfeit in a lot of other beverage industries, right? I don't see counterfeit Leinenkugel, summer shandy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've brewed a clone of it and it tasted counterfeit, but you don't see the, I don't know of, leave a comment below if other industries, in the spirits, alcohol industry realm deal with counterfeit like wine. It seems like wine is more high dollar. And so people, it's worth their time to counterfeit it as opposed to craft beer has some high dollar aftermarket trading going on. They're like Treehouse. If people get first runs of certain or Jester King here in the Austin area, I've seen them go for a lot of money in the aftermarket, but I've never heard of a counterfeit issue where someone said, oh, I paid $500 for this bottle and it doesn't taste real. I've just never seen it, but that's why I included the story this week, because it's just interesting to me how for many years the wine industry has tried to combat fake wine. And my palate for wine is so poor, I'll be honest with you, I would never know the difference. But also, to be fair, I would never spend a lot of money on wine, counterfeit or real. That botched wine that at my local grocery store, that's like $8 for the box. I don't think they'd ever counterfeit me. And that's all that matters. And then moving on to our last headline of this week, and something I included because this is dear to me because it's my home state. Winners of first annual Texas Craft Brewers Cup revealed at Brewers Gathering. This is from Focus Daily News, and I think the headline is grammatically incorrect. It should be winners of the inaugural Texas Craft Brewers Cup revealed at Brewers Gathering. The Texas Craft Brewers Guild awarded 81 medals to 57 small and independent breweries from across the Lone Star State in the nonprofit trade association's first statewide craft beer competition. The best craft beers in Texas in 27 medal categories covering 150 plus different beer styles were awarded gold, silver, and bronze medal during awards ceremony at the Texas Craft Brewers Guild meeting at the Hilton Austin on Saturday, February 12th. Judging took place January 29th through the 30th in Austin, with 37 judges evaluating 755 anonymized entries from 131 breweries hailing from all different corners of the state. The Texas Craft Brewers Cup judging pool was comprised of experienced brewing industry professionals and members of the homebrewing community with extensive beer judge certification program judging experience. Quote, one of the key missions of the Texas Craft Brewers Guild is to celebrate the outstanding quality of Texas craft beer, and a professional craft competition might be the best celebration of them all, Texas Craft Brewers Guild Executive Director Charles Valhenrat said. With more than 750 entries in the competition, our medalists represent the pinnacle of quality in an outrageously wide range of craft beer styles. As the organization behind the annual Texas Craft Brewers Festival and the Texas Brewery Passport app, which helps beer enthusiasts find and visit Guild member breweries, Valhenrat believes the Texas Craft Brewers Cup will be yet another tool in the Guild's toolkit to help attract new fans and bring longtime beer lovers back to tap rooms at a time when small and independent breweries have a lot to gain from the promotion of Texas' highest quality craft beers. Valhenrat said, quote, the Texas Craft Brewers Guild felt the time was right to introduce a Texas-only craft beer competition. While we've discussed the competition for years, we waited for the right moment in time when we had the most diverse set of brewery business models, the widest array of styles to work with, and the critical mass of craft breweries literally across the state to make the competition the ultimate brewing benchmark for the state. Some quick stats about the competition. It was their first annual. There was 755 total beers judged, 150 plus beer styles, 131 competing breweries, 27 medal categories, 81 total medals awarded, 57 medal-winning breweries, 2 Brewery of the Year winners, 37 judges, 16 volunteers, and each participating brewery could enter up to 8 beers. I've made a list. I won't go through the whole thing of category winners, but some of the top ones that most listeners, especially if you're here from our normal podcast, Homebrew Happy Hour, and you're a craft beer enthusiast, that you'll understand. Category 1, Pilsner, went to Live Oak Brewing Company from Austin for their Live Oak Pils. Category 4, which might be my favorite, went to Central District Brewing's Kayakers Kolsch, also out of Austin. Category 11, the Hazy IPA, went to Holdout Brewing's Leaf Peeper, also out of Austin. Category 5, which is German and Czech lagers, went to Infamous Brewing Company's Diet Pils, also out of Austin. Category 10, American IPA, went to Meanwhile Brewing Company's Delicious Secret Beach. I do love that beer. They're also out of Austin. And Category 7, which is classic UK styles, went to Eureka Heights Brew Company's Wicked Awesome, and they're out of Houston, Texas. See, it wasn't all just Austin breweries. The Brewery of the Year awards, the 0 to 799 barrel group went to Black Star Co-op. They're out of Austin. And then the 800 plus barrel group went to one of my favorites, Real Ale Brewing Company out of Blanco. Congratulations to all the winners of this. You know, obviously, if you're not in Texas, you might have already left this episode or turned this off if you're an audio only listener. But I get excited about this stuff. Seeing the craft beer scene explode again in Texas at a whole different level. In the early 2000s, I remember seeing it. Real Ale being one of the ones who kind of ushered it in was a cool thing. Them and Shiner, just watching what people were drinking and enjoying and introducing to their friends that wasn't from one of the big breweries in just a rice lager, right? Which, nothing against that if that's what you like. But it's very cool to live in this area and have a brewery serving delicious craft beer within a stone's throw. And I know Texas is not unique to that. There's Colorado, like the mecca of craft beer, California, a lot of areas across the country. It's very cool to see just this resurgence of delicious craft beer. And then also with home brewing, right? I like to see more people making their own delicious beer too. So it's a cool thing to see. And congratulations to all the winners at this year's festival. I told you it'd be short and sweet. That's it for this week. If you have any tips or industry news, email it to joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com or use the hashtag BNW on social media. Also, you can find this episode and so much more content and articles available at homebrewhappyhour.com. Make sure you visit our show sponsor, KegConnection.com. Use our promo code BNW and you'll get 10% off your first order. Have a great week and we'll see y'all soon.